Welcome to the Joy of Cooking podcast. Each week we set the table for discussion about recipes and stories from the authors of The Joy of Cooking, Kitchen Victories and Misadventures, and what we're cooking and eating right now. We're glad you've joined us at the table today. I'm Shannon Larson, home cook, Joy of Cooking user and fan, and persimmon enthusiast.
I'm Megan Scott, co-author of the 2019 edition of The Joy of Cooking. I'm a food editor by day and avoider of dish duty by night, and sometimes I forget baked potatoes exist, then I remember them and I'm happy.
I'm John Becker, fourth-generation co-author and steward of The Joy of Cooking, America's oldest family-run cookbook, and I am dangerously close to becoming a dry brining truther.
You gotta explain.
I
You gotta explain what that means.
I feel like this is a touchy subject since we're getting pretty close to Thanksgiving, because I do think that, dry brining, aka in the olden times, known as salting with no hyphen involved, it's great for turkeys, good for roasts, but I don't know. I've cooked I think 4 things over the last week and a half where I have just salted something right before it went in the pan, and it was delicious. And I'm just really starting to question how often I need to do that.
It's nice if you do it far enough in advance, but if you do it and just wait an hour or so, that's not long enough, right? Because then the salt will draw out the moisture of the food, and then it will just be wetter and less likely to brown. Versus if you do it 24 hours ahead of time, then it makes the food more brown. But who's thinking 24 hours ahead?
I mean, some of us are lucky that way. And, well, I don't know. For Thanksgiving, obviously, it makes sense because we're all obsessing about that. And hopefully not too much. But yeah, I've been really happy with just the devil-may-care version of salting.
Yeah, I agree. I think it makes sense for a turkey because you are thinking about it so far in advance, hopefully.
Well, and it's plus you really do want to season the interior of the roast. And so it does help with that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm talking about some salmon fillets that we pan-seared and some
roast chicken.
We did some chicken thighs where I salted right beforehand, and it was perfect. Yeah. And then also we had some free steak that
Free steak.
Free steak. Not a very interesting story. My mom just happened to have some steak that she wanted to get rid of. So, but yeah, all of those applications, dry brining, while nice, just not necessary. And now I'm questioning really how much we need to mention it in some of our basic recipes where it makes a incremental improvement, but not necessarily something you're going to be oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, we're having all these conversations about how we want to approach recipes and topics for the 2031 edition, the 100th anniversary edition. So, and I think in some cases we'll give readers the option, you can dry brine this for up to 24 hours is as part of the recipe, and it's optional. But to what point might that confuse someone if they're not sure about it? And also if you don't know what dry brining is, then you have to go and read about it first. And then you're well, I don't have 8 to 24 hours to do this thing. And so it might just be too much of a stretch, I think. So maybe simplifying it a bit.
Yeah, people would read that and then be well, maybe I won't do that tonight and I'll do that later. And then they never do, and they pivot to something else completely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we do a pretty decent job of giving people the option and not spending too much time on it. But yeah, just always
questioning everything now.
Yeah, got to question everything.
I don't think I rarely dry brine anything. If I'm making chicken thighs, I just salt those puppies and throw them in the cast iron. I don't have the wherewithal to think ahead. I'm barely keeping up as it is. So,
speaking of, what did you cook this week that you are still thinking about, Shannon?
We made our first cottage pie of the season last night.
Yay.
And it's not something we eat very often because we don't eat beef very often. Oh my gosh, it's so comforting. And then we paired it with just a really simple radicchio salad because I thought that bitterness of the radicchio would cut back on the richness of the cottage pie, which was perfect. And I have to say, I make good mashed potatoes. So I was eating
what's your secret?
I just love a lot of salted Kerrygold butter. I don't mess around with unsalted butter.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's something I've actually wanted to ask you guys about sometime. And then half and half. And usually if I have horseradish, I add a little horseradish to the mashed potatoes too.
Touch.
And that's it's just a little spice. It was just such a comforting meal. We watched a scary movie on the
That sounds
couch.
great. It was really stormy last night
Yeah.
too, so that just sounds very appealing.
All the candles were lit.
We had one thunder and lightning
Oh my
moment.
gosh.
Just one.
It was so loud.
It was so loud.
My neighborhood text thread like blew up immediately. They were like, "What was that?"
This is notable. This is notable in Portland.
In
like we
Portland.
really don't get thunderstorms, so it was very exciting for us.
Yeah, but just one. So weird.
Yeah.
It was loud.
I saw someone on Reddit this morning saying, someone was like, why did we only get one thunder and lightning? And then someone was like, it's because in Portland we have artisanal, small batch created thunder and lightning. I was like, yes, this is the best.
That's the right answer.
But yeah, that sounds delicious.
Yeah, it was great. What were you guys cooking this past week?
I feel like I seared some salmon fillets like a few times now. Just falling back on
We've
that.
been keeping it simple. This was a really busy week, so
Yeah, one of them, one time it was farmed Atlantic salmon because I don't know, I had to park at Whole Foods downtown and it was just like the easiest thing to get. And then the other time it was sockeye and yeah, really good.
we also did do baked potatoes this week, which is hence my intro, because I sort of forget that you can just bake a potato and eat it.
Well,
you know?
and the best part of it is like you can have so many different topping options.
Mhm.
Like we have Mexican baked potatoes or Japanese baked potatoes or
Throw some
love
chili
them.
on there, some
Yeah.
broccoli, whatever. Yeah. And you mentioned horseradish earlier.
Ooh.
We got some extra spicy horseradish from Cascade Locks because somebody there makes this. I don't know how they get it so hot,
It
but
really is.
it is
It's curious.
over the top and delicious. And so we've been stirring that into sour cream and then putting that on stuff.
so good.
Yeah, on the baked potatoes.
Yeah, I feel like there was a pub that closed in Cascade Locks, and they were the ones who were selling this like extremely spicy horseradish. But now it's just called like Exit 44 horseradish because the pub is gone. And yeah, I don't know. We stopped at a coffee shop on the way to the mushroom hunting thing that we did, and yeah, no, it was good to finally get reacquainted with such a strong and curious condiment.
So we want to talk about the Joy Scouts recipe of the week, which was lemon meringue pie on page 681. I don't really have any notes because I didn't make it because it's been a really busy week and I just didn't have a pie in me this week. However, it's a very solid recipe. I loved Kate's comment last week about making sure that when you cook the filling mixture, the lemon and cornstarch and egg, that you bring it to a full boil because of the enzyme that's in egg yolks that will cause it to get runny if you don't cook it enough. That's a really good note. And then using the Italian meringue instead of the plain like French style meringue is really great because it just holds up a lot better over time. But yeah, either way, lemon meringue pie is a fleeting experience. You got to make it and then eat it within like a day or two. That's when it's best. So if you have made the lemon meringue pie, please share a photo with us on Instagram. Tag us at The Joy of Cooking. We would love to see what you are making.
I like using a torch with it because it has this like thrill of the grill kind of aspect to it where it's like, oh, it's kind of high stakes because you might get it a little too toasty, but you know.
I love how much you guys love using your torch.
It's so great. It's the best cooking tool. It just makes you feel like a powerful person, you know?
We all need that.
Yes, we do.
This week, we'd like to welcome our friend Gillian Beck Van Heemstra to the table. Thank you so much for joining us, Gillian.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here.
I normally read a bio for our guests, but you are our personal friend who just lives in Portland and we hang out with and we see at Canning Club. That's where we met, Canning Club, right?
Yep, I'm one of the many who got to meet these awesome people at Canning Club.
How long have you been going?
I can never remember what year it started, but my first meeting was the first anniversary.
Wow. I think it started in like 2010 or something, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been going on for a long time.
Yeah. So that's 14 years.
God.
Nice. Yeah, that's like how I've said this before, but that's kind of how we've met most of our Portland friends is through Canning Club, which has been really fun. But when I try to explain it to people, they're like, it doesn't really compute. Like, you know. What have you been cooking and eating this week that you're excited about?
Well, I actually brought you some presents because my friend Max has a very successful garden and they gave me a bunch of things from their garden and it's kind of like the last of the produce, you know? So I received quince from a neighbor and then Max gave me eggplant, all of you all's favorite, and jalapeños and then a bunch of these poblano peppers as well. So the thing that I brought for you that I made this week is something called Karin Hachimitsu. It's a Japanese home remedy that I learned when I was living in the countryside in Japan in 2001. So the way you make it, I brought you a little jar to try, and I brought you a quince, one of these beautiful fragrant quinces.
So much.
So the way you make it is you take a sterile jar, you wash the quince, chop it up, skin and all, seeds and all, and put it in the jar, and then just pour in honey to cover it and let it ferment on the counter at room temperature for about a week.
Nice.
And then strain out the quince. You keep the honey, and then it's a cold season remedy. So you just take a spoonful, mix it with hot water, and drink it. And it's especially for sore throat, but also just like a cold season preventive, like your elderberry syrup.
Mm-hmm. That sounds delicious too. I love
Yeah.
quince so much.
Added bonus, it probably tastes really.
I know.
Sounds like it tastes really good.
It tastes really good.
Yeah, I made a similar thing this week. We had one of our previous guests on the show, Sarah On, who wrote the cookbook Uma with her mother. Her mother has this jujube and ginger kind of honey infusion, and it's very similar in that you have the jujubes and your grated ginger, and you soak that with honey, and you let it sit on your counter for a few days, and then you just make a tea with it. Use like a tablespoon to make a hot tea, and you can strain it or not strain it depending on what you like. But I do love a throat coating tea remedy. Thank you, Jillian.
Mm-hmm.
That's very nice.
And on my list to cook with this big bag of poblano peppers is Escabeche Verde. I was
so
reading
good.
about it in Food and Wine magazine, had like a feature about Texas barbecue sides, and I have never tried it, and I cannot wait. It looks so good. Have you had it?
Yeah, we tried it for the first time a few months ago. Definitely want to repeat it sometime soon. It's very, very good.
Can you describe the ingredients that are in the sauce?
Yeah, so it's poblano chilies, garlic, Mexican crema, scallions, jalapeno, cilantro, cumin, salt, a good amount of butter, and then queso fresco for the garnish. And you just make like a pureed, super green sauce for spaghetti.
Yum.
That sounds so good.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I don't know why we didn't make it again because we really liked it. I think it just was
we need
like, it's not in the repertoire yet. We just need to get it in there.
We need to actually pair it with some barbecue.
Yeah, that's the answer. And Jillian, what is your relationship to the joy of cooking?
I didn't grow up with it. And it's really, I'm going to be maybe too honest. Don't be offended. When I was growing up with the older editions, I didn't like them. It wasn't the kind of food that my family ate. It wasn't about the part of the country that I lived in. I mostly grew up in Hawaii. And I was like, it's not my favorite cookbook. Until the 2019 edition, when you all started bringing recipes to Canning Club that you were testing, I was like, okay, so this is going to be different.
Yeah.
And it is. So now when I got the 2019 edition, and now when I want to look up a recipe for something, like, for example, the escabeche that we're going to talk about in a little bit, the recipe's in there. So yeah, you all added so many good recipes, and I love it now.
Oh,
The
that's
one
awesome.
Actually, one of my really good memories of the joy of cooking, my mom didn't have it. My family didn't have it. But my friend Claire, I thought her mom was a really good cook.
Mm-hmm.
Deborah, she is a really good cook. And she was a Joy of Cooking fan. And she like hand copied out the Joy of Cooking chocolate chip cookies recipe for me when I was in high school. And I memorized it, and I then took it to college with me and made cookies in my dorm room all the time, and like probably made a lot of my friends that way.
Awesome. That is a really good way to make friends in college.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a kitchen in your dorm room?
We had like a kitchen down the hall, and I also had a toaster oven and a rice cooker
Okay.
in my room.
Yeah. Did you guys cook at college at all?
Yeah, I don't technically we weren't allowed to have things in our room, but my best friend and I roomed together freshman year, and we were like, well, we're cooking a little bit. But then I was out of the dorms my first year, like into an apartment. So
Yeah. My dorm was new and kind of fancy-ish, and we had like a big communal kitchen on the bottom
nice.
floor that anybody could use. So that was really nice.
I actually did have a kitchen in my the first semester I went to college. The only time that was the case, but
What'd you make?
A lot of macaroni and cheese, but like a very specific one. I was kind of, would get kind of homesick. And RIP, this restaurant called The Montage was underneath the Morrison Bridge on the east side in Portland. And many a late night would go there with friends and have some oyster shooters and Old Mac, which is just this like really simple heavy cream Parmesan garlic macaroni type thing. And so I would make that for like my roommate and people that would come over from down the hall. I think that the one time there were a few times I had people over for like lemon herb chicken. I think it was from the 1997 edition.
Mm-hmm.
That's the edition I took with me to college. So
That sounds like advanced, to be honest, for a college student in their freshman year.
I mean,
I wasn't making lemon chicken in my
I
dorm.
I had a reputation to uphold something.
From a certain family.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, Joy of Cooking listeners, did you know the same family that taught America how to cook also taught California how to make world-class Chardonnay? The same joy and passion for life that inspired Irma Rombauer to write The Joy of Cooking inspired her great-nephew, Kerner Rombauer, to establish Rombauer Vineyards. Founded in 1980 in the Napa Valley, Rombauer has been producing acclaimed wines from California ever since. While they're famous for their iconic California Chardonnay, Rombauer crafts a diverse collection of delicious wines that bring joy to your table. Ready to taste the legacy? Visit rombauer.com/joy or use code JOYPOD, all caps, for 15% off your order. That's ROMBAUER.com/joy or code JOYPOD, all caps. So, Gillian, you brought some of the escabeche that you used the Joy of Cooking recipe to make?
Actually, not exactly. I'm not a loyal follower of a recipe person.
Great.
I'm a look at 5 recipes and use what I like from each one kind of person, but it's similar. You're going to get a similar result. So this escabeche, I brought a jar for everyone to try, and we were talking about how you all are going to be listening to this right around Thanksgiving. So a few years ago, my friend Alex, who I always spend Thanksgiving with, brought a big jar of escabeche to Thanksgiving because, that meal needs more acid, needs more spice, needs more color, and it was so good. So escabeche, you might think of it as taqueria pickles, and the kind that we usually see is carrots, onions, and jalapenos and not a lot else, but the home version can have a lot of different ingredients, like cauliflower is often in there. It can have radishes, it can have mushrooms, it can have even potatoes.
Oh, wow.
Uh-huh.
Do you cook the potatoes first or?
Potatoes would be cooked
Okay.
first, yeah.
Okay.
But escabeche is a little bit cooked. Like some recipes have you saute your veggies in oil first, and some have you just boil them in the brine for a few minutes. But yeah, it's so good. When we had it, I thought it complemented the meal so perfectly that we always had to have it at Thanksgiving. And since then, the next year, Alex didn't have time to make it, so I had to learn how. And yeah, since then, we've always had escabeche at Thanksgiving. What do you think? When you taste it and you think about some turkey and mashed potatoes and cranberry sauce, can you see how it fits right in?
No, absolutely. I feel like, cranberry sauce does a good job of cutting through some of the richer foods that you serve at Thanksgiving. But this would be a perfect accompaniment to all of those things.
Yeah, I feel like
Really good.
so. I grew up. My family's Thanksgiving was more of a potluck than a fixed sort of meal. So we would have, and I have a really large extended family. You've been to one of these, John. Like, how many people would you say were there? Like 50 people, 75 people, a lot.
Are you talking about like up in the
in the mountains
cabin, the family cabin? Yeah, that was like at least 60. I want to
Yeah,
say
huge gathering. So
It's
everybody
a
brings
tiny cabin.
Yeah, a really small house. But everybody would just kind of bring stuff that they wanted to make. So, yeah, there was a turkey, but there's also biscuits and fried chicken and collard greens and beans and like everything you can imagine.
There's like tables in the basement, tables like, up in the bedroom. Like
Yeah,
it was kind of nuts.
But my pickles are obligatory. Like there's always a variety of pickles, and I feel like the escabeche would fit right in with that. And Thanksgiving desperately needs something tart and like reviving of your palate because it's such a I love the starches, I love the carbs, but yeah, you got to have something to cut through it. I also wanted to talk about your Santa Rosa plum jam, because that's like the thing that whenever you bring it to Canning Club, I feel like I put my game face on.
Yeah,
I'm
I think
that's the thing I want.
everybody around the table, we're all like, eyeing each other.
Yeah.
We need to do a secret trade for your okra pickles.
Yes.
Before Canning Club, under the table.
I'm down.
Oh, man.
The secret Canning Club.
We would never.
We're
We would
gonna have
never.
to
Yeah, no.
edit this part out or destroy the recording.
But yeah, Santa Rosa plums are so important to me because part of my childhood, I grew up in California where Santa Rosa plums are available at least at the farmer's market, maybe at the store, like for a minute. And they were my dad's like number one favorite fruit. We had this experience over and over where I would try to share a plum with him that I thought was good. And he'd be like, it's not a Santa Rosa. And so finally, in Oregon, I've never seen them at the store or at the farmer's market. They're hard to grow. They're not productive. They don't do well here. They're like not shelf stable at all. But I planted a tree with Santa Rosa plums and started getting good crops the last few years. And you know what? You bite into one and you're like, it's a Santa Rosa. You can smell them from down the block because they're so fragrant. And yeah, I'm really glad you can appreciate that really special jam.
Yeah, the jam that I remember that was a gateway to Santa Rosa's for me that you made also had used rose petals, I think.
I did, mainly just because they were in my front yard and they're the same color. So we had the like deep red plums and the deep red rose petals, and they both have the fragrance, and the rose petals maybe add a little spice. Mm-hmm. Those ones that I have are a little bit spicy. So yeah, that was a good combination.
I think the Santa Rosa, I mean, it's very precious, so I don't know if I'd want to even, I think I might be a little selfish and not share, but I think that would be good on the Thanksgiving table, like instead of, or in addition to a cranberry sauce, because it's I love how tart and bracing it is. And the color is just stunning. It's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing your fruit with us, because you gave us a jar of jam and you also let us come pick from your tree, which was really special. And that tree is like so it's like a grafted, there are two different types of plums on the one tree, right?
Yep. It was supposed to have 4, but only 2 of them really thrived. So I have half a tree of Shiro plums. So that one's always massively productive. And then half a tree of Santa Rosa plums. And some years we get like 5. Once in a while, we get a good crop.
Yeah. They're not all ripe at the same time, which is part of the tricky thing with the Santa Rosas.
Yeah, you have to pick a few every couple days, and they go from like hard and not good to splat on the ground, unbelievably fast.
Do you have a strategy for collecting them in such a way to like save them to have enough for jam?
For jam, I do try to pick them when they're a little bit underripe and let them ripen on the counter. But yeah, there's a reason you don't see them at the store. They don't ripen on the counter very well. And yeah, definitely just trying to pick some of those squishy, messy, ripe ones that have the incredible flavor.
Mm-hmm. So you said you grew up partially in Hawaii. Are there any foods that you grew up with that you still make that like remind you of Hawaii?
Yes, for sure. I always think about that when I go to potlucks because I really loved the potlucks that I grew up with in Hawaii with things like chicken long rice and lumpia, lots of delicious Filipino food and Hawaiian food. So I do like to make lomi salmon if I ever end up with a little bit of salted salmon, or you can make salted salmon yourself too. It's kind of like salsa, except it's mostly tomato, scallion, and then salted salmon and onion. So that's really delicious, like a delicious favorite food. And then butter mochi or mochi cake. I have a recipe that I like to use, and that's one of my favorite foods in general, but also it's gluten-free. So if I ever need to make a dessert for people who are gluten-free, that's high on my list.
That's high on our list to add to the next edition of Joy of Cooking.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. You and I have talked a fair bit about meal planning because it's something we both do, and you have like I think you have a different strategy than I have, and I just wanted to like draw you out about like how do you meal plan? What's your strategy?
Yeah, we were talking about it because I do really enjoy your meal planning newsletter, and I have been cooking dinner for my family since I was like 12. I guess it is something that I've always liked to do. Mm-hmm. But also like a skill that I've developed over many years. And now that I'm a parent of an 11-year-old, it becomes more important because there's like managing the school schedules and 2 working parents. Thankfully, my wife and I have worked out a system where I do almost all the cooking and she does almost all the dishes because I hate doing dishes.
Bless.
Like,
Love that. So great.
yes. But yeah, I've kind of gotten it to a science now for our family, which is that I have a paper meal planner and I meal plan for the week on Fridays and make my shopping list. And I also have to check the fridge. So before you make your meal plan, you have to clean out the fridge and you have to look at what you have in the fridge, look at what you have on the cupboard shelves and whatnot, and then do your meal plan and then make your shopping list and then go grocery shopping. And for us, it works really well to have it on paper. We have this magnetic notepad that sticks to the fridge because then if anyone's like, am I going to get my favorite food this week? They can just look at the meal plan. Or if they're hungry and they're like, what's for dinner? They can just look at the meal plan and they know what's for dinner. I feel like it's helped me so much to not feel like I'm flying by the seat of my pants all the time. Make sure that I have the ingredients that I need to cook the meals. I put events on the meal planner too. So if it's somebody's birthday or if there's going to be a late meeting at school or whatever, and we're not going to be home for dinner, I put those on the meal plan as well. And that way I can accommodate, like, do we need a super quick meal tonight? Are we going to cook something special for somebody's birthday? Yeah, I have hundreds probably of strategies for meal planning. And I'm curious what questions you have and I can share some of them.
Does your family have veto power? Like if you put something on the meal plan and they're like, you know what, I'm just not feeling this. Does that ever happen?
They don't get veto power, but there's 2 things I do to try to make sure everybody gets something they like. Number 1 is that I ask my family before I start the meal plan, what do you want to eat this week? And they both say food.
Oh my gosh.
And I say, what kind of
Sounds
food?
familiar.
And they say, the good kind. And I'm like, okay. So there is always the option in our household to, if you don't like what's for dinner, take a bite and then you can just make something else. Eat a bowl of cereal, have a piece of toast or whatever. And that's important because my kid is very picky. Yeah. Once in a while, actually, we have a bunch of strategies for this. One is that I think it's always good to have a subscription to a food magazine. My current one is Food and Wine, but I've had lots of different ones that I like. Like I used to be obsessed with Sunset, and Saveur has really good recipes sometimes. And I had Bon Appetit after Gourmet, which was one of my favorites, closed, and they switched my subscription to Bon Appetit. That was like heartbreaking, but Bon Appetit also has some good columns, good recipes. So we have the food magazine where everyone in the family can read it and like bookmark a page of something that you want to cook. So that helps my wife, who does not like to think about food, but if she sees a delicious recipe, she's like, make me this. Yeah. And then New York Times Cooking as well. She'll send me a recipe. Like we did curry pumpkin noodle soup the other day. I was a little bit dubious actually from the description, but it was so good. It tasted like pumpkin laksa. It had like a smooth pumpkin background. And then I got these like long slurpy egg noodles from the Asian food store, red curry flavor. So I would recommend that one.
Okay. New York Times
but yeah,
Cooking.
that's another one where she'll get like the recipe of the day and send it to me and say, make this. My kid likes things that are really simple. So sometimes we put his favorite takeout on the menu, or if we're going to eat something spicy or whatever that we know he won't like, we just get him. We live across the street from a whole bowl. So we give him money to go get a whole bowl and we eat what the adults want to eat.
I love whole bowl, to be honest. It's one of my most we usually go for lunch. It's one of my most requested lunches though. Yeah.
It's a good work lunch.
And it's just, so for listeners, whole bowl is just like a little bowl of rice, brown rice, black beans, and then toppings. So it's, I think it comes with cheddar cheese, those black canned olives that are weird but good, salsa, what else?
Cilantro, sour cream, and tolly sauce.
Yeah.
You're forgetting the hot sauce bar.
Yeah, and they have a wide variety of hot sauces that you can add to your bowl. So that is a favorite.
Yeah, they're like the spiritual inheritor of Honkin' Huge Burrito, which was very important to me, and it's Our producer Dirk is laughing in a knowing way. But yeah, honkin' huge burrito. R.I.P. Wonderful.
And they were honking huge. I don't know. I know nothing about this other than
They were honking
They were
huge.
honking huge. Yeah.
I think one thing you do with your meal plan that I need to be better at is thinking about what my plans are that night. Sometimes I get way ahead of myself and I'm like, I'm going to make this great meal on this night. And I'm like, wait, I'm not home until 7:30. What am I doing? Writing it down makes a lot of sense to me. That's not something I do. I use Megan's like whiteboard kind of based idea. Well, you do paper, but I put it on a whiteboard. But I think I need an events category too, or some way to remind myself, like maybe you shouldn't be making, a 4-course meal on a Wednesday.
Yeah, right.
That's silly.
And then 2 more strategies that I think are important are that usually I have leftovers or foraging day, like Wednesday or Thursday. And then
Foraging day makes it sound like an adventure.
Yeah.
foraging does sound better than leftovers, right? It does. You can also, it inspires you to recombine what might be in the fridge in a new way. And then the meals that are late in the week, like Thursday or Friday, would be a pantry meal where if I don't get to it, it just stays in the freezer or whatever, stays on the shelf, and I'm not going to waste food. I plan to do the most perishable stuff on Monday. So if I have like something with strawberries, we're eating it on Monday.
Yeah.
And then Fridays, we like to have a little bit celebratory. So Fridays, I usually make pizza. And I have 2 go-to pizza recipes. I know you all have talked about pizza before, and there are probably many go-to pizza recipes in the archives. But my 2 are, if I'm on top of it and planning ahead and having a good day and in control of everything, then I make the King Arthur flour crispy, cheesy pan pizza recipe.
Ooh.
I've like tweaked and customized it a little bit so that it's like our family's favorite pizza. It's like 3 inches thick, and like imagine like the puffy, squishy focaccia texture with some like melty cheese, some crispy cheese. It's really good. And then I have a recipe from Serious Eats for crispy bar style pizza that literally takes 5 minutes. You can slap 3 of them on the table in the time it takes to boil a pot of water. So I recommend that one for emergency pizza.
The tortilla
pizza, yeah. It's actually pretty good. It's better than frozen pizza. I've never had a kid refuse to eat it. I recommend it.
We should make that.
Yeah, no, I've been intrigued. I've seen it several times.
What's your family's favorite? Some of your favorite pizza toppings?
Okay, so my son will only eat plain cheese or cheese and pineapple.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Those are the
Strong
only
choice.
only
Just
2 options.
cheese and pineapple, not like
Well, tomato sauce, cheese and pineapple.
no,
The
like
cheese,
ham or anything.
no ham, and the cheese must be mozzarella only. If there's Parmesan, it has to be hidden. It cannot be fresh grated on top. We took him to Lovely's 50/50 and he was like, this pizza is terrible. I'm like,
my gosh.
No. I mean, I think if you're a kid, you can get away with saying stuff like that. It's fine.
Once he hits 15, he's not allowed to say that.
Right.
no, he didn't like the delicious sourdough crust and he did not like the plain cheese blend. I was like, okay, we're never taking you out again.
God, I'm trying to think about what's different about the cheese blend.
Well, I know that Sarah uses like different cheeses. She does, mozzarella, but like some of them have like locally made hard cheeses and things like that.
Yeah,
And
if you just order a cheese pizza there, it seems like you would probably just get plain mozzarella, but I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to ask Sarah. But
Yeah,
Gillian-
my favorite's also pineapple. Pizza is one of my strategies too for the like incorporating any vegetable that you have left into your meal.
Yeah,
so
that's a
things
great
like
idea.
sauteed mushrooms are amazing. We invented a pizza a long time ago called Beetza, where you make roasted beets and slice them, or maybe you have leftover roasted beets. And then for the base, we make an herb pesto. So it could be anything that you have, but usually like parsley, arugula, oregano, any herbs that we have in the garden. And then we use the herb pesto for the base, and then the sliced beets, and then toasted walnuts and crumbled feta. That was
Dang.
one of our use up the veggies pizza toppings.
that sounds great.
really
I want to
so
make
good,
pizza.
Just out of curiosity, so pineapple's a favorite of yours. Is that something that you actually encountered a lot in Hawaii, or no?
That's not how my family got into it. There's an apocryphal story. My older brother, Steve, worked at a pizza shop, and there was someone who kept calling in to order Hawaiian pizza or the pineapple pizza. and then they wouldn't pick it up. And then when the pizza shop put it in the trash, they would come take it from the trash. And so the pizza shop caught on,
Pro tip.
and my brother started bringing home those pizzas instead of letting the caller come and get their free pizza. And so that's how my family got into Hawaiian pizza. And then I became vegetarian, and so I stopped eating the ham. So, yeah, that's how I got into Hawaiian pizza and pineapple pizza.
Wow. I just remember, like, in the 1997 edition of Joy, it's actually called Seattle Pizza, which
Yeah, I wondered about
I'm
that.
really confused about, and I would like to know more about the origin of the quote unquote Hawaiian pizza.
Very mysterious pizza to me. I'm okay with it. I don't understand Canadian bacon. I'm sorry to any Canadians who are listening, but I don't. It's kind of just like to me. It's just like ham.
It's ham that's made with pork loin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
But anyway, I don't understand that, so it's not my favorite. I like Ken's Pizzeria in Portland does pineapple pizza with bacon, and to me that is like more of what I would want.
Don't they not saute, but like
They roast the pineapple.
they roast the pineapple,
Yeah,
and with some of the bacon.
I think so.
Drippings.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a solid pineapple pizza. But
Yeah.
yeah. Jillian, you also brought a huge stack of cookbooks to this recording. Is that part of your strategy for thinking up ideas?
It really is. I am a lifelong cookbook reader. And so that's one of the ways that I get ideas of something that I want to make, as well as it's like an informal cookbook club. We don't meet on a regular basis, but I have a group of friends where when I read a good cookbook, I'm like, we need to get together and cook from this book and have a dinner party. So we do that once in a while. But yeah, I find this really great for not getting bored with eating the same thing all the time. So some of the cookbooks that I brought that I like are the Snowy Cabin cookbook, Meals and Drinks for Adventurous Days and Cozy Nights. So this is one where if it's, cold, snows on the forecast, we want to look in this book and make something that's going to feel super cozy, like these soft pretzel braids with gooey Gouda sauce. Although really,
my gosh,
my kid will
pretzel dinner.
will not eat the Gouda, of course. There's a recipe in here for buffalo cauliflower nachos. That's one of our favorites. So that's a good one. And then I really enjoyed Julia Tershin's What Goes With What, pretty recent cookbook. This is really the way that I cook, which is like, what do we have and how can I throw it together in a formula that's going to end up with something that people want to eat? So she has a good Substack, and some of her, I love the illustrations, both her charts and her mom's illustrations, which are so cute.
That.
But I really recommend this one for like if you are a person who doesn't know how to or doesn't feel comfortable with like throwing together ingredients to make a meal. I feel like reading this could be a good way to learn how to, like, how do you know if throwing these ingredients together is going to taste good?
That's been on my list, but I need to just go grab it.
Yeah, that's a great one. I really like that one too.
Yeah, the matrices or whatever you want to call them. The illustrations are really great and informative.
I also got to meet Julia the last time I went to New York, and she is a delightful human. I'm proud to report, and we want to have her on the podcast at some point. But yeah, her books are great. Her recipes are really fun. And they teach you more about, like, it's more about learning how to put things together than just following a recipe, which I really like, because I think that it's easy to get stuck on just following a recipe forever and ever. So she's actually teaching you skills in this cookbook to do that. We're big fans of Rombauer Vineyards. They're sponsoring today's episode, actually. But honestly, their wines are fantastic with so many joy of cooking dishes. My current favorite is their Sauvignon Blanc with our cow soy gai recipe. That bright, crisp wine cuts right through the richness of the curry. It's perfect.
Oh, absolutely. Being Oregonians, we take our Pinot seriously. We're excited about their new Pinot Noir, which pairs beautifully with our chicken jambalaya. The wine has enough body to stand up to all those bold Creole flavors.
If you want to try these pairings yourself, head to rombauer.com/joy or use code JOYPOD, all caps, for 15% off. That's ROMBAUER.com/joy or code JOYPOD, all caps. Do you have a signature dish, or like, do you have dishes that are in your repertoire that you make over and over and over, or do you like to try new things all the time?
I think my signature dish is salad, and I make it lots of different ways. And I actually highlighted a recipe from Joy of Cooking that I wanted to share, which was your Becker salad recipe.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things that I usually do is make salad dressing of the week because my wife won't eat store-bought salad dressing. Like, I grew up totally as a like ranch and Italian from a bottle family, but it was like a condition of entering my wife's family was that I had to learn her mom's recipes for homemade salad dressing.
Oh, wow.
And I did. And it's easy now. And so, yeah, I have actually a few amazing salad dressing recipes. Like your recipes are amazing. And
Oh, thanks.
your salad recipe says how you would just like, sub in different ingredients or use a different dressing and change it up so that you're still eating salad, but it's not the same every time. And I think I've taken that to extremes. My friend group celebrates Passover in a pretty like informal, non-religious way. But something that I always bring to Passover is the Dayenu salad. And Dayenu is like one of the songs from Passover that means it would have been enough. And so what I do for that salad is I just go out in the garden in the early spring and I pick whatever I can find from my garden, maybe from friends' gardens. And it seems like there's nothing out there, but it ends up being a bowl of salad. And I'm like, it could have been enough.
I love that. That's such a
And
good tradition.
yeah, and it's like got all these bitter flavors and spicy flavors and different textures and stuff like that. So throughout the year, I'm just like, what's in the fridge? How can I make it a salad? Does this need to be a wilted salad? Does this need to be a chopped salad? Does this salad need some dried fruit or nuts to complement it? And I always feel proud if I make a salad that's a combination I think no one has ever tried before.
Are you usually trying to make it into kind of a main dish type salad, or is it more of an accompaniment type side dish?
Could be either, but usually just the vegetable side. Oh, and I wanted to say, you were mentioning your radicchio salad.
Yeah.
I recently learned a secret about radicchio that I've been like questing for this secret for like decades, which is why do restaurant radicchio salads taste so good and the ones at home are inedibly bitter? It's because the bitter ingredient in radicchio is water soluble. And if you soak your radicchio for at least an hour in cold water, then it will be deliciously bitter instead of painfully bitter.
Yeah. I started soaking a lot of my greens for salads anyway. I think I saw it in the Via Carota like salad, the famous one that's like piled high.
Yeah.
And you just like soak the green leaves and stuff in water for a long time too. And I found that has like changed my salad game in general for both radicchio
It really
and other
perks
things.
things up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes such a huge difference. Of course, you have to think a little bit ahead.
Not
but
that
it
not
really-
that much.
Not as
Yeah.
much as dry brining.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I'll add a handful of ice cubes too sometimes. Just, I don't know if it's kind of a superstitious thing, but I'm like, well, if it's even colder water, that'll be even
better.
more crisp.
Even crisper.
I don't know if that's true, but I like it.
Yeah, I feel like we did that last night when we didn't even really have to. Like
Yeah.
we just, it's like, oh yeah, let's just soak them. I feel like we had cleaned some salad greens like
A few days
few
before.
days ago, and it's just good for reviving.
Yeah.
They weren't especially like wilted. It's just like, yeah, they're gonna be
crisp them
crisper.
up. Also, do that with like anytime you have carrots in your crisper that get kind of womp womp carrots. I couldn't think of the word for like.
No, but I pictured it.
You know what I mean? Limp carrots. You can just soak them in ice water
Yeah.
and they usually will crisp right back up. So if
Celery,
you have,
too.
celery,
Yeah.
anything that, vegetables are watery, you put them in some water.
Just a side note about salad dressings and bottles and whatnot is I was cooking solo like one night this week, and I was just like, why do I always make salad dressing from scratch? And I was just like, for a second, I was like, I need to, give myself a break more and get some store-bought salad dressing. So
Or just make a bigger
I
batch.
guess. I don't know. It's like we usually make a bigger batch, but then it just runs out too quickly.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Well, there
this,
was some in the fridge, just FYI.
there's
it
this
was
one
hidden.
store-bought one, Garlic Expressions. Have you seen that one?
Oh, I've seen that, but I've never bought it.
It's actually pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I love that you had to learn how to make salad dressing in order to enter the
family.
family. Is the family recipe a secret?
No, it's just like vinaigrette, but like
Okay.
vinaigrette made from your heart. But actually, the
Yes.
one that I think like this solidified our relationship was artichoke dip. So her family makes a dip for artichokes. My family was like mayonnaise Our dip was Best Foods mayonnaise. But her family made this artichoke dip that I think might be like a relative of, is it called sauce gribiche?
Oh, yeah, Gribiche.
Gribiche, okay, French,
Yeah.
my nemesis.
Don't pronounce any of the letters.
Anyway, so it's like vinaigrette, kind of a basic vinaigrette with a bunch of chopped hard-boiled eggs in it and a bunch of chopped herbs in it.
Okay.
And it's very delicious as a dip for artichokes.
And eggplant. No, I'm just kidding.
Sorry. I mean, what isn't
Probably.
delicious?
Always on the brain.
What isn't delicious with eggplant?
So each week we answer a caller question, and this week we're going to talk about the index in the Joy of Cooking. Dirk, can you please read the question?
I listen to your podcast several times a week. It's comforting even on repeat. I have 3 Joy of Cooking cookbooks, 1975, 1997, and 2019. I have a problem finding recipes when I search a specific recipe. Do you have any guidance on how to use the index? Thanks, Pat.
First of all, thank you so much for listening to the podcast, and it's really lovely to hear that you like listening to it on repeat. That makes my heart feel warm and fuzzy. I love it so much. John, I think you should take this one because you did a bunch of reading and research about the index, and it's such...
You're really...
I'm putting you on the spot.
You're really selling... Yeah, it's a high bar that you're setting here. It kind of feels like... an elementary question, but it's legit, completely legit. I mean, sometimes it's hard to surface the exact recipe that you're looking for.
And in a book like Joy, that's so huge. It's really key. Like having a good index is key.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's been a topic of conversation. Like even Irma and Marion were like super duper concerned about the index. In fact, like the 1931 edition, the index was in the front of the book. Mm-hmm. I mean, Irma definitely thought that the index was going to be how people found recipes, and she put it right next to the table of contents.
And it's sort of something that you may not know is that a lot of cookbook authors, if they want a really good index for their book, end up paying out of their own pocket to hire a professional indexer to create the index, because otherwise you can end up with something that's really not super helpful or just full of holes. So it is a really important process, and there are people who do it for a living. It is a fascinating little world that I didn't know about until I got into this business.
It can make or break somebody's experience with a book, and I don't want to go out and say thankless work, but I don't think it's acknowledged enough, what indexers do and how important it is. But yeah, just like generally speaking, if you're looking for a specific recipe that you've seen before, like in the book, or you were just trying to surface it again, I mean, first of all, if it has it's a distinctive dish with like a well-established name, that's the easiest one to find. You're going to find it, alphabetically. Just
like, can you give an example of that?
Like cassoulet or sachetort or Sonker, right? Brownies, whatever. There are plenty of recipes that are like much more like, I guess, nondescript or vague. It's kind of basic recipes that, where it's like a method and then an ingredient. So for those, especially for non-baking recipes, you just want to look up the main ingredient entry in the index, and usually you'll find what you need listed underneath the main ingredient. If you can't find it that way, then go for the genre of the dish. So soup, stew, salad, there will be index entries for those dish types. And then alphabetically underneath, you should be able to go through that list and find what you need. And then if that fails, look under the About section for that ingredient, because the About sections work as like they will introduce like a group of recipes organized by ingredient.
You see this a lot, like in Joy, you see that the About sections that we're referring to, like in the vegetables chapter, it would be like about artichokes. And then at the bottom of the introduction, there are, I was about to say links. There are cross-references to other recipes, artichoke recipes in other parts of the book that aren't right there. So that's kind of like almost like a mini index or a way to find things.
Yeah, a tiny little index where it's like, the recipes that, let's say artichokes is the main ingredient. Those are right underneath About artichokes. But then, you will have like links to artichoke dip, like that
in the appetizers
chapter and whatnot. So that's another way to find what you're looking for if it's not like super duper obvious. And then for baking recipes, you really want to kind of flip the order there, where you want to look underneath the type of dish, like pie, cake, bread.
And there are subsections too, like chocolate cakes has its own section in the index.
Yeah.
But if you just look up cake and then under that chocolate, it will tell you, oh, actually, you need to look under chocolate cakes for this subject.
I feel like in that particular instance, it's like both. But yeah, so I would just go with the genre of the dish first, and then if that fails, then look under the ingredient for the baking recipes.
I was looking up some recipes in the index just to see what I could see. And for example, I looked for cornbread, and you can find it under just cornbread, but you can also find it under breads. And then it was like a subsection, quick breads and then cornbread, which I looked at that and I was like, I don't know if that's the most helpful, because I don't know if people are thinking of cornbread as a quick bread per se, but it was relatively easy to find even so. So that might be something we re-examine for the next edition, because I don't know if we should we should cross-reference to the quick bread section in the index, but maybe we don't have a bunch of stuff nested under it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the turnaround that most authors get on, I can't speak for most authors, but in our case, the turnaround time from when we got a draft of the index to like when we had to approve it and return it, it was like a few business days.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It was, I remember.
We were pushing it.
Yeah, like one of our editors, Mara Stetz, she had her eyes on it. We had our eyes on it. Everybody was trying to frantically like scan the index to make sure everything was right. And I really wish that we could have more time.
Maybe we will this time.
Yeah, Scribner, if you're listening, we would like more time. The index.
I think we need to meet our deadlines and then we'll have more time.
Oh, we did.
There's another thing I wanted to say about the index is that we also included an index entry for classic joy recipes. And these are recipes that have been in the book since 1936. So you can just look under classic recipes in the index and a list of them is right there. That's actually on page 1099. And then we also have cuisine-specific index entries. So if you wanted to look up all the Russian recipes in Joy, you can look up Russian in the index, and all of them will be listed there.
Yeah, it's like not really speaking to the reader's question, looking at for specific recipes. But if you have kind of a vaguer criteria for what you're looking for, yeah, there's obviously by ingredient, by type, recipe type, by cuisine, the classic recipes, and then dietary needs. So there is an entry for gluten-free, and we'll have like the recipes we have that are gluten-free. Other dietary needs like vegan and vegetarian recipes, that's a little bit more difficult because there are so many recipes in the book that are either vegetarian or vegan, but they don't necessarily have that in the title. So an indexer's job is much harder for that. And plus, like, what are you going to...
That would take up so much space.
Yeah, you're going to put like every vegetable...
400 vegetarian recipes in the index.
It would add like 50 pages
Yeah.
to the entire book.
But yeah, so there's another chapter in the book that's entertaining and menus. And in the past, like Irma and Marion, they really used like the menu section to really like set the table and like, how do I put this? They wanted to give people like inspiration for like what to serve with what. And we do have some of that. But one of the things that we really tried to do in addition was to create like very focused, curated indexes for specific subjects where it's more of an associational grouping. So, for instance, like vegan recipes, we have by chapter kind of. It's what there's
Or by type.
By type. So, like breakfast recipes,
Soups. Yeah.
salad, etc. So, we try to curate mini indexes for vegan and vegetarian recipes.
As well as also in the entertaining and menus chapter, there's like a list of author favorites, which are just our favorite recipes from the book. And they're broken down by category. So like appetizers, soups, desserts, breads, stuff like that. So if you want to know what we think the best recipes are, that's where you can look. And then, of course, there's stuff like, Thanksgiving menus and things like that. But it can be helpful to look in that chapter to kind of narrow things down if you're just not sure what you might want. But yeah, if you already know what you're looking for, you should go to the index. Shannon, do you have any thoughts about indexes from your experience using Joy? Anything you've noticed?
I love indexes so much, and now I really want to talk to an indexer. I didn't know that was a thing, and I'm obsessed. But what I like to do also is if I have like a lot of eggplant, for example, that I'm trying to get through, I like to go to the indexes of different cookbooks and just get a sense of what, then I have a better idea of what flavor profile I might be going for or like what I'm actually in the mood for. the indexes in my cookbooks are used
Yeah.
often. And I think that it's really nice to see like, oh, there's like a miso eggplant recipe in Joy. Oh, there's also one in this other book that I really love. What are the like things that they have in common? What are the differences? What do I want to try that's kind of new? So I use that a lot to compare recipes between cookbooks themselves.
This is another opportunity for me to plug Eat Your Books. It's a wonderful website. It's a wonderful service. You just enter the books that you have, and then, it basically functions as like a meta index, and they're tagging recipes with main ingredients for like eggplant. And God, we have to stop this.
We'll pick a different vegetable after the first year of this podcast.
That's right. Yeah, our 1-year anniversary is coming up, and the second year we will
talk about something other than eggplant.
Another ingredient. Promise.
Oh, hello. I just wanted to take a moment to tell you about an easy way to enhance your meals. Whether they are a healthy vegan grain bowl or that late night snack we'll pretend didn't happen the next day, and that easy way is Marshall's Hot Sauce. For 15 years, chef and cookbook author Sarah Marshall has been hand-making and bottling these delicious sauces. She works directly with local farmers and highlights the lovely flavors of fresh seasonal produce. They're gluten-free, there are no additives, dyes, waxes, or binders, and they have mouth-watering combinations like serrano ginger lemongrass, or habanero carrot curry, or even whiskey smoked ghost, which was featured on Hot Ones. So head on over to marshallshotsauce.com, that's Marshall's, HAUTESAUCE.com, and see all the available sauces and spice blends. Oh, that's right. Sarah's created spice packets by dehydrating and freeze-drying actual produce, so you can impart flavor into your food with more vegetables. But that's a story for another day. Find all of these delicious creations at marshallshotsauce.com and enter HOTJOY, that's one word, capital H, AUTE, capital JOY, one word, at checkout for 20% off. That's HOTJOY at checkout for 20% off. And now, back to the show.
We couldn't think of a recipe to assign this week that has anything to do with the index, except for the fact that they're all in the index. So we thought more about how this podcast episode will air the week before Thanksgiving. And so one of our favorite Thanksgiving sides that doesn't sound like you would want to, doesn't sound sexy, but if you like cabbage, it's really good.
Cabbage is sexy.
I love cabbage. It's the Cabbage Gratin on page 225. It's a fantastic
Okay,
recipe.
I've made that recipe like 3 times. It's so good.
So good.
It's mouth-wateringly good.
Yeah.
Like,
so you saute a leek. If you don't have a leek, don't worry about it. Just use an onion instead, or a shallot, or whatever allium you want.
That's unacceptable.
leek only. Oh, maybe that's our new vegetable.
That's certainly a candidate. We should definitely.
And then you add shredded cabbage to that, saute that a little bit, and then you mix that into kind of a custard base. So it's like a couple eggs, a cup of, maybe a half cup, I can't remember, some cream or milk, a little bit of cheese. The recipe calls for Swiss or Emmental, I think, or Gruyere. But if you don't have those, like any melty cheese is totally fine.
There's a little flour in there too.
Yeah, there's a little bit of flour to help thicken. I would recommend not using mozzarella just because I feel like you want something with just a little bit of like bite to it. So like a cheddar or a young Gouda or something would be really
Gruyere
good.
is really good in it though.
Yeah, Gruyere is great. I wish it weren't as expensive as it is. But yeah, if you make this recipe, please let us know what you think. It's fantastic. You bake it in the oven after doing all that, and it gets nice and crusty and brown on top, and the cheese is all melty. So it's a really great Thanksgiving side, and it's not super common to find. So definitely tag us at The Joy of Cooking if you make the Cabbage Gratin recipe on page 225. If you have a cooking question or joy story to share, call our hotline at 503-395-8858. Leave us a message or send us a text. We'd love to hear from you. Dirk, can you please read or play next week's caller question?
I just bought a stupid expensive bottle of black currant vinegar. I haven't tried it, but I love black currant. I plan to use it occasionally on a green salad and in seltzers as a shrub. Can you think of any other ways to deploy it? Maggie and BDX.
Thanks for that question, Maggie. We're looking forward to answering that next week. And thanks for listening to the pod.
It sounds like an excuse to buy a stupid expensive bottle of currant vinegar.
Black currant vinegar? Sure.
It's research.
Maggie, you're going to need to tell us where you bought your black currant vinegar. Yes. Thanks. What's everybody cooking and planning on eating this week?
Well, I have a bag of frozen pierogies that I've been waiting to put on the menu, and I'm going to make that gratin cabbage that you just recommended.
Nice. That would be
and serve it with the
perfect.
pierogies.
Oh my gosh, yum.
Yeah, that would go really well together. I want pierogies.
I know. I always want burgers.
Well, we're going to North Carolina this week. My sister's getting married, so that's really exciting. And there's a handful of things I always try to eat when I go back to North Carolina. One is pulled pork barbecue. There's like decent barbecue in Portland, but I don't think that anybody truly gets North Carolina style pulled pork barbecue. So that's
Can we drive to Lexington, please?
sure. Yeah, we can go wherever.
Okay.
We'll do barbecue. We'll go to, there's this little, it's not even, calling it a restaurant is maybe glorifying it too much. It's this little roadside place where you can get barbecue there, but hot dogs are what you go for. It's called Pulliam's. It's been there for over 100 years, I think. It's very old. It's been there forever. And North Carolina style hot dogs are served with like a ground meat. It's like chili without any beans or anything else. It's just mostly like spiced meat. And then raw onions, which is a hard no for me, but I respect it. And then like a finely chopped coleslaw. So like it has mayonnaise, but it's very light. It's not like gloppy. It's just enough to coat everything. So that's the our producer is like grimacing.
He's like grimacing behind you.
But there's those hot dogs, and then we'll also go to Waffle House, or Waho, as I like to call it. But you got to go to the Waffle House when you're in the South. And if it's closed, run as fast as you can away.
Yeah.
Something bad is happening.
Yeah, and I guess tonight it's either going to be hot pot or biryani. Weird.
It's up to you because I'm tired. I'm not cooking.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'll eat whatever you make.
Okay.
I'm heading up to Seattle for a short work trip, and one of the things I love doing is just ordering in sushi and sitting in the hotel bed and watching hotel TV and eating sushi.
That is a very special delicacy.
It's just the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I want to do.
Thanks for listening to the Joy of Cooking podcast. Before we go, show some love for your favorite podcast by subscribing to the show and leaving us a review. Follow us at joyofcooking.substack.com and on Instagram at thejoyofcooking. Stay tuned for next week where we'll talk about how to use blackcurrant vinegar. And don't forget to make this week's recipe, Cabbage Gratin, on page 225. Call in with questions, hopes, history, or where you find joy in the kitchen. Our number is 503-395-8858. That's 503-395-8858.
And we could not do this without our fantastic team at the Joy of Creation production house. Thank you to Dave Drusky, our production coordinator, Haley Bowers, our audio engineer, and Dirk Marshall, our producer.
If you love the stories we bring you each week, please consider supporting us on Patreon. As an independent media company, your support is absolutely essential. It allows us to continue creating high-quality professional episodes that amplify the voices of women, small business owners, writers, artists, and creatives, and keep their stories free from commercial pressure. By becoming a Patreon member, you're not just supporting us, you're investing in the future of independent media. Please visit patreon.com/The Joy of Creation Production House to join our community today. Thank you for listening and supporting our podcast dreams.